Good morning, everyone. So, in the last class, we introduced subspaces. Today, we are going to discuss some interesting result related to subspaces. So, quickly, you can recall the definition. So, a non-empty subset W of V is a subspace of V if W itself is a vector space. Okay, and then we have seen the conditions that if I have to prove that W is a subspace, I have to show that it's non-empty, it is closed under addition and closed under scalar multiplication. Now, a polynomial is defined as follows. So, it is a polynomial of degree n if a0, a1, an are real constant and an must be non-zero. So, if I write 2 plus x raised to the power 4, it means it is a polynomial of degree 4. Question comes that does the set of all polynomials of degree 3 form a subspace of the set of all functions? Okay, the answer is no, because it is not closed under addition. If I consider two polynomials of degree 3, 1 plus x cube and 1 minus x cube, they both are polynomials of degree 3. But if I add them, then it gives me 2, which is not a polynomial of degree 3. It means if I consider the polynomials of degree n, they are not going to form a subspace. And this is why we need to redefine it. So, instead of considering a polynomial of degree n, better to consider Pn be the set of all polynomials of degree less than or equal to n. Because if we relax it, then for sure it is going to form a polynomial. So, now whenever we write Pn, it means that we are talking of the polynomials of degree less than or equal to n. And if we see this, then of course 0 polynomial is covered, polynomial of degree 0, then closed under addition, because whenever you add them, their degree would either be n or less than n, and similarly scalar multiplication, closed under scalar multiplication. Okay, so let's consider a question. Prove that set S forms a subspace of P2. So P2 means the set of polynomials of degree less than equal to 2 under usual addition is scalar multiplication. Okay, so 0 polynomial has no problem because 0 of 0 and 0 of 2 is equal to 0, and therefore 0 polynomial belongs to S. Now we have to show it is closed under addition. So let us consider P and Q belongs to S. To show that P plus Q belongs to S, I have to show that P plus Q of 0 is equal to P plus Q of 2. So I can start with P plus Q of 0, which can be written as P of 0 plus Q of 0. Now P belongs to S, this means P of 0 is P of 2. Similarly, Q of 0 is Q of 2. This becomes P plus Q of 2, and this implies P plus Q belongs to S. Similarly, if I consider Kp, so Kp 0, it becomes K and then P of 0, then K and P of 2, that gives you Kp2. This means Kp also belongs to S, and therefore S forms a subspace. Okay, till now what we have considered that all the vector spaces, they are corresponding with usual addition is scalar multiplication. This is one interesting example where we can see that the operations are not usual. Okay, and now we are going to discuss few questions. Before we start, we have already done this question, and therefore please do recall that the 0 vector here is minus 1 comma 2. And how we compute the 0 vector? For the 0 vector, 0 times xy that gives me, so alpha is equal to 0, so 0 plus 0 minus 1, 0 minus 0 plus 2, which is minus 1 comma 2. So here the 0 vector is minus 1 comma 2. So we need to check whether the following sets are subspaces of this given vector space. The first one is a subset of R2 lying on the straight line y is equal to 0. So how does it looks like? So it's look like W1 all x comma 0 such that x belongs to R, and you need to show that does it form subspace or not. So it is not. Please do try by yourself. Very interesting question. So let us consider two elements, 1 comma 0 and 2 comma 0. They belongs to W1. So 1 comma 0 and 2 comma 0 both belongs to W1. Now add them. If you add them, then you will get 1 plus 2 and plus 1. So this is 4. And then y1 plus y2, so 0 plus 0 minus 2, so which is 4 minus 2, which does not belongs to W1, hence not closed under addition. Okay, even you can directly conclude here that the 0 vector does not belong to this set, because minus 1 comma 2 does not belongs to W1 and therefore does not form a subspace. Second one, so this is the set W minus 1 comma y where y belongs to R. Yes, now in this case if I put y is equal to 2, then you can call it W2 minus 1 comma 2 belongs to W2. That's not a problem. Let's try the other properties. So first, closed under addition. So for closed under addition, let's just assume x1 comma 2. I'm sorry, but better to write minus 1 comma y1. So minus 1 comma y1 and minus 1 comma y2 belongs to W2. Let's check how you add them. So minus 1 comma y1 plus minus 1 comma y2. How it is added then? Minus 1 plus 1, that gives you minus 1. y1 plus y2 minus 2. y1 plus y2 minus 2. So you can see that it is in the form of minus 1 comma y, because the first entry is fixed minus 1, other can be any real entry, and therefore it belongs to W2. Similarly, if you choose alpha dot minus 1 comma y1 where alpha is a scalar, then how does it become? So alpha x, so alpha multiplied by, for the first entry, minus 1, so minus alpha plus alpha minus 1, then alpha y, so alpha y1 minus 2 alpha plus 2. Okay, so the first entry again becomes minus 1 and therefore this belongs to W2. All three properties are satisfied, it forms a subspace. Let's quickly try one more example. So the set xy lying on the straight line x plus y is equal to 1. How does this set look like? So if you write it W3, then it looks like, you can either compute the value of x or y. So it looks like x comma 1 minus x where x belongs to R. This is W3. Yes. Now minus 1 comma 2 again belongs to W3. Why? Because if you choose x is equal to minus 1, then the second entry becomes 1 minus minus 1, which is 2. So not a problem. Now again consider two elements. So x1 comma 1 minus x1 plus x2 comma 1 minus x2, vector addition. It becomes x1 plus x2 plus 1, and if you add them, then it turns out to be 2 minus x1 minus x2 and then minus 2. So this is minus x1 minus x2. If you see here, then it does not look like this one, because if first entry is x1 plus x2 plus 1, the next should be 1 minus x1 plus x2 plus 1, but I can write it down like this. So the first entry is x1 plus x2 plus 1, and the next is 1 minus 1 plus x1 plus x2, which is same as minus x1 minus x2, and therefore it belongs to W3. Similarly, please do verify by yourself that alpha x1 minus x also belongs to W3, so it forms a subspace. Okay. One more interesting result. So it says that if W1, W2 both are subspaces, then their intersection is also a subspace. This one is easy to prove. So again, to prove, we have to show that all three properties hold. Let's start with the 0 vector. Okay, so if 0 belongs to W1 or W1 intersection W2, this is what we have to prove. So since W1 and W2 are subspaces, so 0 belongs to W1 and W2, and therefore 0 vector belongs to W1 intersection W2. Now let us assume UV belongs to W1 intersection W2. I have to show that U plus V belongs to W1 intersection W2. This means that U and V belongs to W1 and W2. Now they belongs to both. This means that U plus V belongs to W1 and U plus V belongs to W2, because W1 and W2 are subspaces, and this implies U plus V belongs to W1 intersection W2. Second property hold. The same way you can show that the third property also hold. So if you assume K and U, KU both belongs to W1 and W2, therefore KU belongs to W1 intersection W2. All three properties are satisfied, which shows that W1 intersection W2 is a subspace. But union is a problem. Union may be subspace, may not be. Yes. So since it may not be, we just have to produce a counter example. I suggest that you should try to produce a counter example by yourself. It would be a very interesting exercise, and then you can see the solution which I am proposing. So let us consider W1 to be x comma 0, where x belongs to R, and W2 to be 0 comma y, where y belongs to R. It can be easily verified both W1 and W2 forms a subspace of R2. Yes. Now I will show that it is not closed under addition. So let us consider that 2 comma 0 belongs to W1 and 0 comma 3 belongs to W2. If I add 2 comma 0 plus 0 comma 3, because for R2 it is usual addition is scalar multiplication, it becomes 2 comma 3, which does not belongs to W1 union W2, because what is W1 union W2? All the elements of the form x0 and 0y. So either the first entry should be 0 or the second entry should be 0, but this cannot belong to W1 union W2, and this is why it does not form a subspace. This leads us to the next interesting question, that under what condition W1 union W2 forms a subspace. So W1 union W2 is a subspace if and only if either W1 is contained in W2 or W2 is contained in W1. Okay, one side it's very obvious. If W1 is contained in W2, then W1 union W2 is equal to W2. So in this case, W1 union W2 is equal to W2, and in this case W1 union W2 is equal to W1. Since W1 W2 are subspaces, therefore W1 union W2 is a subspace. Now the question comes, if W1 union W2 is a subspace, then we have to show that W1 is contained in W2 or W2 is contained in W1. Okay, let's do it by contradiction. So W1 is not contained in W2 and W2 is not contained in W1. We have assumed this. This means that there exists an x, any vector x in W1, but x does not belongs to W2, and similarly there exists a y that belongs to W2 but y does not belongs to W1. Okay, now let us assume that x plus y belongs to W1 union W2, implies x plus y either belongs to W1 or x plus y belongs to W2. Okay, so assume that x plus y belongs to W1. Yes, also we have this information that x belongs to W1. Now W1 is a subspace, x belongs to W1, it means its additive inverse also belongs to W1. So x plus y belongs to W1, minus x belongs to W1, then I can consider x plus y and minus x. If you use the associative laws, that it becomes x plus and minus x plus y belongs to W1, that gives you y belongs to W1, which is a contradiction here because we have assumed that y does not belongs to W1. Yes, so we started with a contradiction and we reached to the contradiction, which means that if W1 union W2 is a subspace, then either W1 is contained in W2 or W2 is contained in W1. Okay, you have to think here that how we have considered W1 union W2 is a subspace, this result. It has been used here. So x belongs to W1, y belongs to W2. It means x belongs to W1 union W2 and y belongs to W1 union W2. Now W1 union W2 is a subspace, therefore x plus y belongs to W1 union W2. Okay, now let us define the sum of two subspaces as W1 plus W2. Here plus means again you can consider it as a vector addition because this is better understand. So if W1 belongs to capital W1, W2 belongs to capital W2, then their vector addition, this is how we define W1 plus W2, which is also a subspace of V whenever W1 and W2 are subspaces. This I suggest you to try by yourself to prove that W1 plus W2 is a subspace. It is a very easy exercise. And then one more exercise. So it says that prove that W1 plus W2 is the smallest subspace containing W1 and W2. Yes. So to prove smallest, again we can go by contradiction. Contradiction means let us assume some other subspace T containing W1 and W2. Yes. Now what I have to show that I can start with any vector u in W which is W1 plus W2, and I have to show that this u belongs to T also. If I manage to show that, then it means it is a subspace. Okay, so even better is to say it is a subset. So subset means W is a subset of T, which means W is contained in T. So I start with arbitrary subspace T containing W1 and W2. Then I consider an element in W which is W1 plus W2. If I manage to show that this element belongs to T, then I am done. Yes. Now if U belongs to W, then we must be able to write U as small W1 plus W2, where small W1 belongs to capital W1 and small W2 belongs to capital W2. Yes, because this is how we have defined capital W1 plus W2. Okay, now W1 belongs to capital W1, W2 belongs to capital W2, and both W1, W2 are subset of T because T contains W1 and W2. which means small w1 plus w2, even in this start I can write small w1 comma w2 also belongs to T. Now T is a subspace, therefore w1 plus w2 is contained in T. So I started with U which belongs to W and I reached to U belongs to T. Yes, and therefore capital W is contained in T. Okay, one more result. What it says, V is said to be the direct sum of W1 and W2 if and only if V is equal to W1 plus W2 and W1 intersection W2 is equal to 0. Even what it says is that whenever W1 intersection W2 is equal to 0, then every element of V can be expressed uniquely as a sum of an element of W1 and an element of W2. So this is simply a definition that we say V is a direct sum of W1 and W2 if V can be expressed as W1 plus W2. This is one thing. And then W1 intersection W2 should be the 0 vector. Now this is what it means by 0 vector, the intersection 0 vector, that every element of V can be expressed uniquely as a sum of an element of W1 and an element of W2. This can again be easily proved by contradiction. So let us assume that W1 intersection W2 is the 0 vector. Yes, and consider any element V which cannot be expressed uniquely as an element of W1 and W2, which means cannot express uniquely means it need to be expressed at least in two ways. So V is equal to small W1 plus W2 and V is also W1 dash plus W2 dash. Okay, so both left hand side is V. This gives me W1 plus W2 is equal to W1 dash plus W2 dash, or I can write W1 minus W1 dash is equal to W2 dash minus W1, and I can call it X. Now W1 minus W1 dash, it belongs to capital W1 because W1 and W1 dash belongs to capital W1, and this belongs to capital W2. Now what it suggests? It suggests that X, because X is equal to W1 minus W1 dash, so X belongs to W1, also X belongs to W2. It means that X belongs to W1 intersection W2, but it is given that W1 intersection W2 is equal to 0 vector. This means that X is equal to 0 vector. If X is equal to 0 vector, then W1 minus W1 dash is equal to 0 vector. Again, it means here it is a 0 vector, also W2 dash minus W2 is 0 vector. From here, you generally write directly that W1 is equal to W1 dash, but if you go into the detail, what you can do is that W1 minus W1 dash, and then you can add W1 dash on both the sides. Now minus W1 dash is the inverse of W1 dash, which becomes a 0 vector. Addition with the 0 vector of W1 gives you W1, and this implies W1 is equal to W1 dash, W2 is equal to W2 dash. It means that if W1 intersection W2 is equal to 0 vector, then every element of V can be expressed uniquely as a sum of W1, as an element of W1 and an element of W2. Now the previous result would be better clear once we do this question. It says that consider two sets W1 and W2. They are subspaces of the vector space V, which is the set of the functions. Prove that capital V is the direct sum of W1 and W2. Yes, so for the direct sum, two things need to be done. Every element of V can be expressed as an element of W1 plus W2. Yes, now one side it's obvious that W1 plus W2 is a subset of V, because direct sum is a subspace of V. So what have to prove that V should be a subset of W1 plus W2. This is one thing. The other thing is that what it mean by even function. So we say that function is even if f of x is equal to minus x for all x. So this is even function. The example is f of x is equal to x square. So it gives you f of x is x square and f of minus x is also x square. It means odd function is f of x is equal to minus f of minus x, or f of minus x is minus f of x. The example is f of x is equal to x. In that case we say it's a odd function. Yes. Now let us consider, so I have to show that V is a subset of W1 plus W2. So to prove it, I should start with a function that belongs to V, and I have to show that f also belongs to W1 and W2, which means I have to write f as a sum of odd function and even function. So consider a function g of x represented as f of x plus f of minus x by 2. You can easily verify that this is an even function. Please do try to verify that g of x is equal to g of minus x. Similarly, consider h of x. H of x is defined as f of x minus f of minus x by 2, and it can be easily verified that h of x is an odd function. Also, it is interesting to verify that f of x is equal to g of x plus h of x. Do the simple mathematics, which means I started with a function that belongs to V, and I proved that f of x is equal to g of x plus h of x, which means it is a sum of odd function and even function. Yes, this means f of x belongs to W1 plus W2. So from this result and from this result, even we can write V is a subset of W1 plus W2. It's clear that V is equal to W1 plus W2. Now only thing to show that W1 intersection W2 is the 0 vector. Yes. So let's assume it's not a 0 vector, which means f belongs to W1 intersection W2. Then f belongs to W1, f belongs to W2. F belongs to W1 means it's a even function, so f of x is equal to f of minus x. And f belongs to W2, it means it's an odd function, which means f of minus x is equal to minus f of x. If you add them, then you will get f of x is equal to 0, which means f is equal to 0, which means W1 intersection W2 is equal to 0. So these are some theoretical exercises which we discuss to get a better flavor of this course. So this ends this chapter, vector spaces and subspaces. In the next class, we are going to start a very interesting chapter. So keep attending the class. Thank you.